My microphone is almost out of battery, so we're gonna see if I can record this video before my microphone runs out of battery. Hello everyone, and welcome to a new cosplay walkthrough video. I don't know what that was, don't even worry about it. Today, I'm making a cosplay that I've wanted to make for so friggin' long. This is a character that I've loved since I was a kid. I don't know why I've loved her so much since I was a kid, but I just have. I don't know why. I think it's like her aesthetic. I love her name. I love her whole vibe. Is she a bit of an antagonist? Technically, yes, I think. But like, I remember as a kid when I was looking on the wiki and everything, she was always categorized as like being neutral. So like, split hairs however you want. Either way, this is a cosplay that I'm gonna do regardless of her alignment. I don't really care in this particular case. I don't know, but just don't come for me for it. Don't come after me for this, okay? Just let me live my life, please. Anyway, today's cosplay that I'm gonna be working on is Kitty from Danny Phantom, who is, like I said, probably one of my absolute favorite ghosts from Danny Phantom, if not my favorite ghost from Danny Phantom. I've loved her since I was a kid, and yeah, that's it. That's the story, Wishbone. So I'm gonna be taking you guys through the process of me making this cosplay. Basically, it's gonna be like any other cosplay walkthrough video. I'm just gonna walk you guys through the process of me making this cosplay, and hopefully it'll be exciting and interesting. This is obviously not a cosplay that a lot of people are gonna want to do, so it's gonna be like a tutorial, but like not really, because who actually wants to do this cosplay? Probably only me. I think I'm the only person who wants to cosplay her, to be honest. Which is a shame, because she's great and we love her. Maybe you'll learn a few things, maybe you'll be screaming on the inside because I'm doing things wrong, who knows? I don't claim to be perfect or really know what I'm doing, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start out by making the bodysuit. So for this, I'm using my favorite bodysuit pattern, which is Quick Sew. Let me just read this. K3502, which is this like skating bodysuit pattern. Since she doesn't wear a choker or anything, instead of doing this style of neck for the bodysuit, I'm gonna do this style of neck for the bodysuit. If she did wear a choker, I could do this version. So like characters like Millie, for example, who wear chokers, I can use this neck pattern. But for Kitty, I'm going to be using this one that scoops, so that the edge of the bodysuit will be concealed underneath the shirt, and then all of my chest will just be painted gray, and everything else will, of course, show as it's supposed to. So I'm going to cut this out with some fabric that I have left over from my baggy cosplay, and we're just going to get into it. Okay, so next I'm going to work on the skirt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this skirt that I have already, which is the exact style and like cut that I want it to be, and I'm going to cut it out of the red vinyl that I have, adding seam allowance, of course. And then for the back piece, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the piece of pleather in half and then put a zipper in, and that should make a skirt. Now, I don't know if this is actually correct, but this is the way that I decide to iron my vinyl, because the vinyl got wrinkly because it was in a bag for a little while. So what I did is I just took a scrap piece of fabric and put it over top of the vinyl, and I put my iron on the lowest setting possible, and I just ironed the vinyl through the piece of fabric, as you can see that I'm doing here. So I did that for all the different pieces, and like I don't actually know if that's how, I probably should have looked this up before I did this. I just kind of guessed that this is how you iron vinyl. I could be totally wrong, but that's how I decided to do it, so there you go.
Next, I'm working on the jacket. For this, I'm using my favorite pattern, which is Vogue 1290. It's very well loved, as you can see. It has seen much better days, but it still works. And I'm going to be using this pattern here, which is just like a basic jacket. It doesn't have a collar, so I'm just going to add one. And as you can see, it's not cropped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all the pattern pieces out a little bit shorter than they usually are, so that it becomes a cropped jacket. So that is the plan.
So then I worked on the scarf. So to do this, I cut out this purpley pink fabric. I cut this out into a nice wide piece, and then I sewed that together to make a big tube. Then I turned that tube inside out, and then what I did is I tucked in the two sides of the scarf, and then I added a piece kind of sandwiched between the two edges, as you can see. I pinned that down, and then I sewed that down, and then I went in and cut that piece that's sandwiched in the edge of the scarf to make the little I don't know what they're called, but the scarfy things. You know what I'm talking about. And here's the finished scarf. Very nice, very nice.
Okay, so here's the cosplay thus far. So I have the shirt, I have the jacket, I have the scarf, and I have the skirt. The skirt did not go as intended, so I intended to have it be just a 2-panel skirt with a zipper down the back. However, when I actually went to like try it on, like try the pieces on before I sewed them, it wouldn't fit over my butt. So I had to make it a 3-panel skirt. So as you can see, there's a third little panel in the back just to make it bigger, basically, to make it, you know, fit over my butt. And then I ended up putting the zipper on the side instead of on the back, just because it all fit perfectly. Like I literally just eyeballed this back panel here, and when I put it all together, it fit perfectly. Like when I sewed it all together, like as is, it fit absolutely perfectly. So I figured putting an extra seam in the back would make it too small. So instead I just put a zipper in the existing side seam, which works pretty well. As you can see, it kind of balloons out a little bit on the side, but hopefully that's not super noticeable. Like hopefully that's just something that I noticed because I made it, and not something that's like super noticeable in the grand scheme of things. Aside from that, I have the scarf, I have the bodysuit, which is working super well. As you can see, it goes just underneath where the shirt begins, so you don't actually see the seam of the bodysuit, which is awesome. The scarf is working really well, and then I have this necklace, which I got off of Etsy. I have to say, Etsy has been an absolute lifesaver when it's come to my most recent cosplays. Like I've gotten a lot of really awesome things off Etsy for cosplay, so this was one of them. I'm just really impressed by the things that you can find on Etsy for such a reasonable price. So I definitely recommend checking out Etsy. If you're looking for like pieces for a cosplay and you're not sure where to find them, Etsy is probably gonna have your back, so that is awesome. So yeah, so this is all I have so far. I also have these fishnets that I got. I need to wait for my green tights to come in. Those ones are supposed to come in a few days, so hopefully those ones come in soon. And then I also have to make the gloves, which will be probably the last thing I do. But once I do the gloves, I can sew those, I can attach the fake nails, and then I'll be pretty much done for this cosplay. So yeah, that's how it's going so far, and I'm pretty stoked about it. I think once it all comes together, it will look really good. Anyway, I think for what I have right now, it's all looking pretty good. The only complaint I have is that this jacket, like, It's really stiff. I guess I have to break it in. Like, I feel like leather jackets, you have to break them in because yeah, this whole pleather situation is like, it's really limiting, and it's just like, it's really stiff, as you can see, and this keeps going forward. I have to like press it better, but it's really hard to iron vinyl. I might just tack this down here so that these stay down. But yeah, aside from that, I think it's looking good. I'm very impressed that I actually made this jacket because working with pleather is a nightmare, so I'm very impressed that I actually made that happen. But yeah.
Then I got to work on the wig. So this is the wig that I started with. This is one that I got in the discount section of Arta Wigs Canada's website. That was a huge mouthful to say, but anyway, I got it on sale and it started out very, very long. So I went ahead and put it in an elastic to keep all the hair together when I go to cut it. Then I hacked all of that hair off to make it super, super short. Not super short, but like, you know, shorter than it started. Then I went in and I cut upwards to make it look more natural and less of like a jagged cut and more of like a natural cut, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. And then I did the same thing with the bangs, so I just cut upwards to make it a more natural looking cut rather than cutting straight across, which makes it a more jagged cut. Then I went ahead and crimped the wig. This was my first time ever crimping a wig, and it definitely took some trial and error to figure out what looked best. What I found worked best was making the crimping iron as hot as possible for the wig. So the wigs can take 215 degrees of that's Canadian. That's Canadian temperature, by the way. It can take 215 degrees of heat. And so I put my crimping iron at 200 degrees, and this ended up being very successful, made the crimps nice and obvious, whereas when I had it on a lower setting, they weren't as obvious and just didn't look as good. So yeah, so I went ahead and I crimped the wig. Here I am crimping the wig. And here's a little look at before and after just to show you the difference. And then I went ahead and crimped the rest of the wig. Then I got to work on the gloves. So for that, I'm using this Yaya Han glove pattern, and I just used these very short gloves because that's all you really need for this. So I cut that all out, pinned it together, then sewed it. Here it is sewn together. And then I put a little wristband on them to look like a bracelet. She technically has one bracelet, but for the sake of this cosplay, I did 2 bracelets, and that's just to hide the seam of the glove. Then I went ahead and painted some fake nails that I got at the drugstore. I painted them and Mod Podged them to make them all shiny. Then I put masking tape over my fingers. This is to protect my nails when I go to glue the nails on, because the glue will seep through the gloves. So you want to protect your nails so that you don't get any glue like accidentally attached to your nails. I used crazy glue for this, but you can also use Gorilla Glue. I just didn't have any Gorilla Glue on hand that worked. I found that crazy glue just dries faster, so that's what I went for. Here are the gloves with the nails on them. And that is it for this cosplay. So now it's time for the final reveal. Yay! That clap was just so funny to me. Anyway, hi guys, wrap up thoughts on this cosplay. Usually putting on a cosplay and like revealing it is like some momentous occasion, but this does not feel like a momentous occasion. I feel really awkward posing in this, which is why I showed you guys stills instead of video. I just didn't feel comfortable like doing poses in this cosplay because it's very restrictive because of this jacket, and I just didn't feel like 100% wearing this. I don't feel like it's as much of a transformation as I had hoped it would be. Like, I feel like I don't look as different as I had hoped. I thought it would be like this, because when you put on a new cosplay, I should just clip this to my, hold on, why am I even holding this? Okay, usually when you put a new cosplay on, it's just an exciting thing to just like see yourself completely different for the first time. And I don't feel like, I thought that I'd have this with this cosplay, but I don't. Like, it just doesn't feel like enough of a transformation for it to be like really notable, I guess, for me personally. And I just feel really restricted and like I don't feel comfortable posing in this cosplay. Like coming up with poses for this outfit was really, really difficult, and I didn't feel like great posing in it, I guess. The other thing is that these hands, the hands and the arms are really, really like wrinkly, so it doesn't photograph super well. I'm gonna have to Photoshop the photos to make them like look less wrinkly. So like that was not a successful part of the cosplay. That's the only part of the cosplay that I feel was like really unsuccessful, was the arms and the hands here. I feel like everything else was like very successful, but like me wearing it doesn't feel successful, if that makes sense. Like I just don't feel 100% wearing this, and it might just be how I did my makeup, it might just be me not feeling it, or it might just be me not be accustomed to the look. Like when you put a cosplay on for the first time, sometimes you just aren't used to how it looks, so it takes a little while to like get used to that, and then you can properly judge it. So I'm gonna have to give myself a little bit of time, I think, looking at the photos and everything. Yeah, I hope my thoughts on this cosplay make sense. I hope that like what I'm saying makes sense. You guys might feel completely differently. You guys might be like, yeah, no, it's a great cosplay, you look great. Like, I don't know. But I personally just don't feel like I look great in this cosplay right now. And I think I just need to make some tweaks to it and just get used to how it looks, probably, because it is a lot to kind of take in, right, with like the gray skin and the green hair and everything, and the bags under my eyes, right, like because she has bags under her eyes, so I had to do that, put bags under my eyes, right? So yeah, so like there's a lot to unpack here, and I feel like I just haven't unpacked it all, so I'll just kind of keep that in mind. But for right now, these are my thoughts on this cosplay. Overall, I'm really happy with how like the craftsmanship of it came together, aside from the hands and the arms of the bodysuit and these gloves. I think like the fact that I made this leather jacket out of pleather was a huge success, because making things out of pleather is really difficult, and I just need to get used to wearing it because it's just very restrictive. But like everything else came together really well, I think, and I feel happy with it. I'll just show you guys the bottom of this cosplay. Here are my boots, here are my fishnets. Nice. Man, this final reveal is just all over the place. Anyway, yeah, I have a lot of conflicting feelings about this cosplay and how I feel wearing it. It's not like this momentous occasion putting it on and trying it on for the first time, but I'm sure as I get used to it and as I try putting it on again, I'll feel better. But yeah, so it's kind of a downer way to end this video. I apologize, but I hope you enjoyed watching nonetheless, and I hope that you were able to take some things away from this cosplay. Sometimes when you put a cosplay on for the first time, it doesn't go as you had planned or as you had hoped, and this is one of those times, but I do have faith that I will be able to make it better and improve upon it and feel better going forward. I'm gonna try and break in this pleather jacket by like wearing it around the house, for example. So yeah, anyway, that's what I have to say for this. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, I promise they don't all end on a downer. They are usually very positive. You can subscribe to see more. I put out new videos every Sunday. It would be awesome to have you here, so feel free to subscribe. Yeah, thank you as always for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys all next time. But until then, Panda Faces, please be sure to take care. Bye!